When you swallow food, it travels through a tube called the esophagus. The esophagus leads into the stomach through a hole in a sheet of muscle called the diaphragm. There's a round muscle at the bottom of the esophagus that works like a valve. The muscle relaxes when you swallow, allowing food to pass into the stomach. Certain cells in your stomach, called proton pumps, release acid to help digest the food. The lining of your stomach protects it from the acid. The esophagus has a different type of lining, which looks like it's made of smooth tiles. The valve is designed to close tightly after you swallow, so nothing comes back into the esophagus. Your diaphragm is also meant to pinch securely around the esophagus, closing off the opening to your stomach. It's normal for a small amount of acid to occasionally splash into the esophagus. This is called reflux. That word means flowing back. A small amount of reflux doesn't usually cause any harm. But if acid splashes up into the esophagus over and over again for years, the esophagus can be damaged. There are several reasons this might happen. It's not uncommon for the valve to become weaker, so it doesn't close tightly. That allows acid and partially digested food to come up into the esophagus. Sometimes the diaphragm weakens around the esophagus, allowing the hole to become larger. This hole is called the hiatus. When it becomes larger, part of the stomach may bulge through it. This is called a hiatal hernia. The hernia may cause the esophagus and the valve to move up. In that case, the diaphragm is no longer reinforcing the valve. That makes it more likely that acid will get into the esophagus. When acid and food splash up into the esophagus repeatedly, it's called gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD. Gastro for the stomach, or gastric system. Esophageal for the esophagus. Mayo Clinic's Division of Gastroenterology and Hepatology is recognized as #1 by U.S. News & World Report. Go to mayoclinic.org to find out how to request an appointment with a Mayo Clinic physician.
Our digestive system is designed to work quickly and efficiently. Gastric acids and enzymes in the stomach break down the foods we eat and kick off a process that turns what we eat into the energy we need. When the process is working as it should, the acids do their job in the stomach and stay in the stomach where they belong. But the process doesn't always work. Acid can back up from the stomach and flow up into the esophagus. When that happens, it can cause that painful burning feeling we call heartburn. Heartburn can happen when we eat certain foods, drink too much, or eat right before bed. Stress and smoking can bring it on too. The esophagus isn't designed to cope with this backup. So, when gastric acid penetrates the lining, it activates nerves, setting off that painful heartburn reaction. Tums goes to work in seconds to buffer and neutralize gastric acid in the esophagus, where the pain of heartburn starts. And it keeps working as it dissolves, neutralizing excess gastric acid in the stomach, too. All this in seconds. Tums goes to work fast to relieve painful heartburn so that you can taste life every day.